Rad Berkey was there.
Injured. One is in critical condition tonight. Good evening. That story is at the top of the news tonight. A fire that apparently started on the 3rd floor of the building, which was undergoing renovation.
It was finally brought under control at about 7 this evening. Fire officials are still on the scene tonight. We begin our team coverage with Action News reporter Frederica Whitfield, who is now there. Frederica?
Well, as you just said, firefighters are still here and keeping a close watch on the potential hot spots. Right now, only they are allowed to enter the 150-year-old building here on Hamilton and St. John Streets to sift through the debris. For some onlookers, today's roaring fire was an incredible sight to see. But for the people who lived and worked in the old clock factory, it was a very emotional moment. For some, seeing clouds of billowing smoke meant witnessing a lot of their valuables and memories just turn to ashes.
When I owned this building back in 1978, one of the first things I made sure of is that the sprinkler system was in good order. I always felt that it was a matchbox. I was worried about the floors in it because they were saturated with oil, and I tried to do as much as I could to secure the building and to keep the vagrants out and people out. But it's a shame.
You said you had some friends there. This is why you're here, and this is why you're very concerned.
I was very concerned, yeah. I don't know if they're still living in there, but last I heard there were people who were off and on doing that.
Well, everything is completely damaged with water damage. All the windows have been busted out. This is my work area, the area that all my customer equipment is in, so they're going to appreciate that, I'm sure.
All right. We continue our team coverage of this spectacular blaze. My colleague Ann Nyberg takes us back to today's fire.
I'm Ann Nyberg. The fire at the New Haven clock factory broke out just after 4 this afternoon. Witnesses in the area of the building say they had seen small amounts of smoke coming out of the building before an explosion occurred on the top floor.
All they know is there was 2 explosions, one that fired when they first got here and one that happened afterwards.
Thick black smoke could be seen for miles around, shading the midday sun.
Shortly after firefighters arrived, an unidentified man was found trapped on a fire escape.
As firefighters climbed a ladder to get to the victim, it collapsed, sending 3 firemen to the ground. Meantime, the flames grew ever closer to the trapped victim. Moments later, firefighters reached the man. He was rushed to Yale New Haven Hospital with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. He is in critical condition tonight. The oil-soaked floors inside the factory kept the thick black smoke curling out of windows for several hours. Tonight, it is still not clear how the fire started. Investigators will be sifting through the rubble tomorrow, trying to find the answers. Ann Nyberg, Action News 8, New Haven.
That firefighter injured in today's fall, he is identified as Dino Ferraro. He has been treated and released at Yale New Haven Hospital. I am told he suffered a separated shoulder. With me now to talk a little bit more about today's investigation is New Haven Fire Department's Chief Deputy Edward Kababak. What have we heard so far about what the possible start to this tremendous fire?
Well, that hasn't been determined exactly yet. It appears that it started in the front of the building where we're standing right now on the 4th floor and transgressed through a connecting wing, the rear section of the building, and it ran through the attic, cock loft, all the way down to the street directly behind the clock shop here.
I'm hearing conflicting reports that possibly a cigarette, a lit cigarette may have started the fire, or maybe even a vagrant.
Well, from what we understand, there was no one in the building at the time except for the fellow that was on the fire escape who was burnt. And as far as we understand, he didn't have permission to be there, but whether it was a discarded cigarette or something else, we'll make that determination in the morning when our inspectors have a little more time to, in daylight, to complete their investigation.
The investigation then will begin tomorrow. What is the plan tomorrow?
Our investigators will be on the scene first thing in the morning, and they'll start their thorough investigation. It's going to have to be done layer by layer to find a point of origin that it started, because the debris is very, very heavy up there on the 4th floor.
Okay. Thanks very much, Chief Deputy Edward Kababek. I'm Frederica Whitfield reporting live from New Haven, Action News.
Okay, Frederica, thank you very much. The intensity of that fire today made the situation touch and go for the firefighters who were there battling the stubborn blaze that had gone to 4 alarms. Fire officials say the fire moved so quickly and was so hot that they worried about the safety of their comrades, but New Haven's fire chief also says that his men and women are well trained and they don't take chances in critical situations such as this.
The only reason a firefighter should ever have to give up is for somebody else's, and you don't give it up for a building. But they did, you know, and I say this all the time, the guys in New Haven, they did an extremely tremendous job here today with this building.
Chief went on to say that if the firefighters had not gained control of the blaze at the time they did, the entire building would have collapsed around them. Well, you know what they say, that lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place, but in the case of the New Haven clock factory, it did. Almost 5 years ago to the day, another fire started in a first-floor storage area of that building and engulfed, well, a different section of the building at that time. No one was injured in that earlier two-alarm blaze.
And Al, in flames and smoke raged through the historic clock factory building on Hamilton Street. One firefighter was injured, another man killed. Investigators say that the victim, Edward Sedonis, was staying in a vacant section of the building.
We have determined that the fire was caused by the careless misuse of lighted material, what you would commonly refer to as careless smoking practices.
The building was heavily damaged in the fire, but authorities say that it is still structurally sound and will not have to be torn down. Al?